Hello, viewers of the RBC around the world, wherever you are. I welcome you to our show, to our live discussion. As you can see, the topic, it is about the term the Khartoumers, which is used in South Sudan. So who are the Khartoumers and who are not in South Sudan? This is our topic today. And I have here Stars Santino Mayangdeng and Ustaz Abraham Makarmachud. So please, Santino, can you introduce yourself to the viewers?
Yes, thank you, Molana Developer Shadar. My name is Santino Mengdeng, South Sudanese American. I resided in America, and thank you for inviting me to be part of your show.
Thank you. Abraham?
Thank you, David. My name is Abraham Kermachud. I am also a South Sudanese American, and I live in the state of Arizona. Thank you.
You're welcome. And I am David Noborchadar. I live in Australia, South Australia, Adelaide. So we'll get into our show, which is who are the Khartoumers and who are not in South Sudan. I can start by trying to define, as much as I know or I understand, the term the Khartoumers. I think what they mean by the term Khartoumers are the people who have at any stage in their life lived in Khartoum or in northern Sudan in general, and that is the factual definition. Someone who has lived in northern Sudan or in Khartoum in particular, and then now has moved to South Sudan. That is, I believe that is the factual definition of the term. There is a political side of it. The political definition of the term Khartoumers is someone or people of South Sudan origin who have lived and worked and studied in northern Sudan and Khartoum during the Liberation War. And now once the independence has been achieved, they have moved to South Sudan. So I will go through the topic with my guests by asking some questions. So I will start with Santino Mayangdeng. Santino, there are some, it looks like this is about singling out of this category, because we know South Sudanese divide themselves through different ways, like tribalism, like sectionalism or regionalism. But this is a different type of dividing themselves, South Sudanese, which doesn't belong into those categories. So why do some and also I should define who is not South Sudanese, who is not a Khartoumer. The people who describe people who lived in Khartoum and worked in Khartoum, people who describe them like that, I can call them the local croppers. I mean by that, people who were born in South Sudan and lived in South Sudan, probably were part of the SPLA, or younger, didn't join the SPLA, but they have never been in northern Sudan. They could have been somewhere in the rest of the world or rest of Africa, but they have never been in northern Sudan. So these are the local croppers. So why did these people single out those they call Khartoumers? Why did they single them out, Antino?
Yeah, thank you, Moana. Actually, when I introduced myself, I didn't say which state I resided in the U.S.
Yeah.
I'm from Minnesota, Midwest, where I live. Coming to your question, actually, it is very unfortunate that we South Sudanese always like to categorize ourselves. You see, especially by grouping ourselves into a certain group. That is always it is our challenge, because it has a lot of effect in terms of unity when we want to unite and work together as a people of one nation. By calling South Sudanese who were in North Sudan or in Khartoum, Khartoumers, or you just give them a name so that can be identified in the society, is worrisome. It have a lot of effect, you see, in terms of security, in terms of the unity, and in terms of why do we have a country? What was the reason of the creation itself? You see, because when you see when those heroes took the arms and they went on to liberate the country, and then we now have the South Sudanese, there was no a certain group that was chosen to be liberated. It was all South Sudanese, regardless where you are. Now the South Sudan has become independent. Everybody have to go home. And that's why everybody voted, including those who were in Khartoum. They voted for during the referendum to have their own country, because the reason people went to the bush, everybody was affected. Whether you are in North, whether you are in the South, we were all South Sudanese going through the difficulties of oppression. And then why now we come and after all these sacrifices, and we come and we have a country, why do we need to categorize ourselves? Why do we need to give ourselves name and use this just to destabilize us or just block us to work together to build our country? That is very unfortunate, Molana David. But as you mentioned earlier, for those who are using these words, there is reason why. One of them, it is a belief or a perception that, for especially when you define those who are using words, some of them maybe they were just born in South Sudan, they grown up there, they never been involved, they never been in Khartoum, they don't know, they just hear South Sudan. I mean, whoever in North Sudan is an enemy or is a northerner, you see, and they don't use the South Sudanese, whom are they, and whether those who were in South Sudan is contributing to the liberation of the country. This is very unfortunate, and because if you are just a local person, you grown up there, you don't know anywhere, you will see everybody who is coming from different place as a stranger. I think that's how they are. But for those who were the intellectual, the politicians, those who knows that Sudan was a united country before the war, Khartoum was the capital city of everybody in Sudan, and everybody was had that freedom to go to Khartoum, whether to go and look for education or to go there to go look for a better life, go there to look for a job. And those politicians from South Sudan who were just elected to go there and represent South Sudanese areas in the National Assembly or in the central government, there was a reason why people were in North Sudan, and because Sudan was a united country, and just giving this name after we have a country, and you define them, have a lot of effect. And as you mentioned, it is a fear. Some people are fearing about maybe those who are coming, especially for politicians and those who are educated. They don't see those who were in North Sudan a part of the liberation, a part of the suffering that happened. And then when they come and join the fruits of the liberation, which is not good. I have no any reason for it, because it will take us back. It will affect our movement. It will affect our working together. It will affect the development of our country, and it will affect our unity, because any definition or to categorize the community or the nation have a lot of effect. It will damage. It will bring damage, and it will slow down the move forward to build the nation.
Okay, thank you very much for your insights, Santino. Abraham, what is your input on that point?
Okay, well, you know, Santino has just put it very well. Actually, that term is used negatively to to me. I consider it as a derogatory term. What it means
Yes.
is that people that are called Khartoumers are those who did not participate in the liberation struggle.
Yeah.
They left, and they actually were siding with Jalaba.
Okay.
And after the country has been liberated, they came back to South Sudan, and they want to enjoy the fruits of liberation that they did not sweat for. And I want to make this very clear. If some from our own place are listening, there is this term that is very, very well known, used by some, not all, but by most people from our own area. They say Panchiko Gordon. That term is in our language.
Panchio Gordon.
Panchio Gordon. You know that it's for them. And if you were not there when the war was being fought, that you did not do anything. You are not part of that country that most all people are trying to enjoy.
Yeah.
And you can see it also when you go to social. So when you go on social media, when you see people talking.
Yeah.
They are always saying, "Wallahi Nazal country Khartoum." Those people that were in Chumal, they think like the Jalab. Okay.
Okay.
And David, you said it before. You said most commanders of the SPLA, most of them in the north, actually, including Dr. John Garang. He left from Khartoum, you know, and the movement. So if at all he was
Dr. John Garang, Dr. Riek Machar, Dr. Lamakol,
all of those people, you know, you name them, you know, they all
the high command, all the high command and the rest.
Correct. So
including Salva Kiir,
including Salva Kiir, they all joined the movement straight from north. But see, they forget that the work that was done by people that were in the north during the struggle, and it's the same people that actually migrated to the Western countries, to Australia, to the US, Canada, and did a lot of political work. And in 2007, I went to South Sudan, my first visit. I went to South Sudan, I went to Rumbek. And I felt that kind of attitude towards me.
Okay.
People were trying to say, okay, they don't say it in your face directly. But they try to explain to you how peace came about. as if you don't know anything about it.
Yeah.
So I started telling them, I said, look, you may think that we have not participated in the war, but guess what? The
Yeah.
peace we're talking about, I know how it started. And I told them about Sudan Peace Act.
Yeah.
Sudan Peace Act that was signed in this country right after George Bush became president,
Yeah.
in which the government of Sudan was told that if you don't make peace with the U.S., well, with the SPLM,
Yeah. Yeah.
give $100 million every year for 3 years to the movement.
Uh,
You know, and South Sudanese went, and when that Sudan Peace Act was signed, a lot of South Sudanese went to Washington D.C. And that picture, if you look, maybe if we go on the internet to search for it, we will find it. You know,
yeah.
those are Francis Book and some other people. Most people were those who came through Egypt actually, were behind President Bush when that Sudan Peace Act was being signed. So from that moment, when Sudan learned that this is what U.S. Was going to do, they accepted to come to the negotiation table, and they accepted to actually table self-determination as one of things to be negotiated. You know, so these people, I explained to them. I said, we know that after that law was signed, we knew that there will be no more war in Sudan. Peace will come. And I explained to them, I said, this is how it came. Everybody did their part. You know, people who were in the bush did their part. Even people that were not fighting, you know, the regular people that were producing food for the soldiers, they also participated, you know. And so it was not only liberation did not only come by those who from those who fought the war. You know, it's political. You know, those who actually campaigned for the peace to come, those who were feeding the soldiers, and those who actually voted for the country to become independent. So, but now that term is being used, that, you know, to say why you here now, you know, you did not participate, and so on and so forth. So I think it's time for all of us that are being called names to stand up and say, hey, look, it's not just you that did this. We all collaborated to bring this country that we call ours, you know, and stop calling us Khartoumers. If you are using that term, also start from your leaders, you know, who went from Khartoum. Don't just use it on us. So so that's what it is. You know, it's a derogatory term, and they should not use it, you know, because it's not right. Yeah. So I'll stop here, and I will mute myself, and I will continue to listen. And if there is any other question later on, I will jump in. But yeah, I will be on mute for a while. Okay.
Okay. Another point is those who are called Khartoumers in South Sudan. One of the reasons they are singled out and they are resented, people believe that they had some success in getting into the government, into the positions, or even very close to the top of the government. For example, people like Tutkeo and other people. They are some of the main reasons. Some of the main reasons this term came up, and those who are called Khartoumers have been singled out like this and resented. So why Santino? Why do you think they succeeded? Why how did they succeed to get into the government at that level and that scale?
You see, it's go the same way, Molana. That South Sudan was liberated, all South Sudanese. You see, I believe the leadership understand this well. That South Sudanese, all South Sudanese, regardless. Though will, if you can see it in recent years, it have changed. There are some regions who are not using it anymore. There are some regions actually who are concentrating on these terms just to marginalize our state, our own region, the lakes. This is where you find these words are really being used always, and it has affected a lot. The normal citizens, those who just left North Sudan after the independence, and they came to Rumbek, they went to Yerul, they went to Rumbek, to Chebet, they went to Ulu, and they were really marginalized or isolated socially. It has affected a lot of them. I went there and I see it. Because unfortunately, sometimes you see that people have real respect to the Northerners who are originally Arabs. Treated respectfully, rather their own people who just came back from North. It is very sad, in reality. Coming to your question that why these people succeed and how did they reach there? You see, I'm a member of the SPLM, and SPLM is a political party. The policy is that SPLM to recruit people, the members. SPLM need the members, and not any member. SPLM need any member because this is how you're going to win for election. SPLM need the cadres, those who will come and advance the agenda of the SPLM. You see, and sometimes when I talk with people, when people are crying, they do a lot of the abuse, those of Tutkau, those of Tormeyuen, and the rest of those who were the leaders during Dr. Yagai. And when they are being abused in social media, I always tell people, are you blaming somebody who got a job, or are you just blaming somebody who hired him? See, because I believe our chairman, who is the president of the Republic of South Sudan, Comrade Selva, knows that he needs people who have experience and who have got, you see, scared to advance the agenda of the SPLM. That these people were chosen based on their experience, based on what they have done in North Sudan, because all these records are there. Salva Kiir is seeing them, and those who are in the government, they know what kind of qualifications we have. They have seen, like the Victoria guy, you can see what he have done in a health center during his term when he was a minister of health. He had done a lot, you see. He didn't do it just like that, but because the man was experienced. He got experience in politics. He got experience how to run things. Tutke also is very smart. Whether we like it or we don't like him, is because he knows how to play games. The politics is just a game. You cannot be given a position when people are playing a games because you were in the bush or you just contributing to the when we talk about political parties, South Sudan is a multi-political party system, and then any party will always choose the capable cadres to advance their own agenda, because this is how the party can be popular. This is how party can be respected. So those who got a chance to go there, and you can see, because in certain regions, some people can just fit into the system without obstacles. And in other regions, it is very difficult for you to go through. For example, in our own state, like Lake State, you cannot see or find somebody who just came from Khartoum to just go like that, because you have
get a job,
because you will and you are being singled out.
And by the way,
it is about whoever was not in the bush.
And by the way, on that point, even before independence, many people left Khartoum to join the movement. Okay, and some people who joined a bit later, they were also rejected. You know, people who joined later, they were rejected. People were saying, I heard people were saying, in Tongmonjang, people were saying, Jalkabela Tioman by Chukta Bebe. You know, Jalkabela Tioman, Kubai Chukta Bebe. That was way before the peace agreement in 2005. You know, like mid 90s, 95, 96, 97. I know stories of people who left Khartoum, who left Northern Sudan. I know. Abraham, do you have a comment there, right? Okay, I think he's talking on the side. So even before liberation,
can I say something about that? Actually,
yeah. Hello, Santino.
Hello. Yeah, actually, for those, you see, when we were in Egypt, you remember that when we were we were sales. We were doing a lot of SPLM things.
The SPLA, even before SPLM. The SPLA cell.
Yes. We were sales, and we go to Khartoum and bring information. We check even the document of the SPLM, SPLA. We smuggling them to Khartoum. You see, like update the magazine.
To update our people there. Yeah.
I remember one time we were in Medina Nasr, the headquarters of where the late Ambassador Mijong Ayom, our former, he was a representative of the in
yeah.
One time we were in the office there, we were playing cards.
Yeah.
I remember that day, it was me, Dr. Chapchut, Dr. McCoy, and Kafi, and some of the group who were there. We were playing cards. And then Dr. Chapchut said something very funny. I did not forget it. And I still remember that until today. And it is relevant now when he said it in the 80s. I mean, at the end of the 80s or the beginning of the 90s. Dr. Chok said, during the beginning of the Islamic State in the Middle East, in Al-Medina, you see, when the Islamic State, the Islam was moving and they were capturing and they were establishing their state.
Victories.
There was
victories. Conquest.
Nasara. Nasara they were not Muslims, and for them they were asked to pay money. That is the Zimma. You see.
Yeah.
They were called Al Zimma.
Jizya. Al Jizya. Al Zimma. They asked them to give a jizya.
They pay jizya.
Tax.
They were paying money. They were asked to pay money like taxes, and then they will be excused not to go to war, but they have to pay money. They will not be used as a mujahideen. And so later on, when the taxes have actually the country will become very rich because of this group. They were paying a lot of money and the wealth. And then the Nasara themselves sit down. This was Chuck who was describing this. Nasara, they sit down and then they say, hey, now we are paying a lot of taxes. It will be better off for us to join Islam and become a part of the state. So we can be treated equally like any other Muslims, not just be charged a lot of money. You see, and then they sit down and then they agree, and they went and met the state, and they make their request. They say, hey, we now decided we want to join the Islam, and so we can become a Muslims, and so then we can be treated like any Muslim here. Unfortunately, what happened actually, they still rejecting their request. They were rejected. You see, they still said, hey, you are fine like that. Nobody gonna bother you. You have to stay there, and provide that you need to pay these taxes. That will make you give you your freedom. And Chuck was trying to make a point. He said, the SPLA, SPLM, there will be a time that the SPLM, when time that comes, there will be people who will be blocked out within the SPLM. They will be denied to be part of the SPLM. And then they will be even rejected to join the SPLM. You see? Chuck was saying this it was a joke environment, and everybody was laughing. Late Ambassador Comrade Majong he said, no, why do you think like that? We cannot do that. The SPLM, we like everybody and all that. And then he said, no, I'm not saying this because of you. It will be other people. There will be another mentality that will arise within the SPLM that will even reject those who want to join the SPLM because they were not part of the main of the operation.
Yeah, that's right. So and on the point of the before and then after the liberation, the other reason, I think, at the top level, the other reason Khartoumers got opportunity is the power struggle within the SPLA.
Yes.
Because I think the president and Riek Machar, especially the president, I believe there was some kind of mistrust that developed between him and the smarties of the SPLM. For example, those who are called Garang boys, I think some kind of mistrust developed between him and these people, and because these smarties, they are people who have, they have, in my belief, they have this sense of entitlement. Let us welcome Gordon, and then we will continue from there. Hello, Molana Gordon.
Hello, Salam. Molana.
Good.
Yeah, I'm really sorry I was late, but I thought that you are done already.
Yeah, no. We started a bit late. Yeah, so yeah. Okay. So we are still here. I'm here with Abraham Machud and Santino Mayangding.
Okay, Marhabek, Santino and Abraham.
I think it just accidentally happened. This has become like a day of the lawyers. what is happening here? It's an accident.
Except me, I'm not a lawyer.
No. This look at Abraham and Nyal.
Good.
Okay. Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Very good.
Very well, Paul. Good too.
Oga Paula.
All right.
Yeah, but but yeah, doing David.
Yeah. So even after the reason, some of the reasons why the Khartoumers succeeded, even especially at the top level, it is because there was mistrust that happened between maybe between Garang boys, so-called Garang boys, those of Pagan and Denga Lor, and the rest, and the president. So I think the president has fallen back on the Khartoumers, the all seasoned politicians, such as those of Bonamalwal and others. So he fell back on them, including Tutkau and others, fell back on them because they are not a threat. They don't have any sense of entitlement for the leadership. Maybe they will just be doing their job and they're not aiming at the top job. So I think that's one of the reasons the leadership of the country embraced those who are called Khartoumers. I will let Gordon to if he has a point on this topic or on this particular section of our discussion.
All right. Thank you, Brother Mabur. Yeah. Anyway, the term Khartoumers, I came in the middle. I think you already discussed it. You know, the definition and the intended target for that name.
Yeah.
So I think I will not go there. I'm sure you already exhausted it.
Yeah.
But the point that you just raised on how President fall back to to Khartoumers. I think you hit the point. If we look back to to the history of the revolutionaries,
Yeah.
mostly you will find out that when the revolutionaries achieve the goals or objectives,
Yeah.
most of the time they turn into each other to kill each other,
Yeah.
to eliminate each other, and
Yeah.
mostly the one on the top would not like to to be on the table discussing issues that each on the table will point out that, okay, when that one happened, I was part of it, and I know this and I know that. In short, the whole issue will boil down to loyalty, because those who started the revolution, most of the
Yeah.
time they feel entitled, as you mentioned it.
Yeah.
And most of the time, when the revolution, become an income or become a power,
Yeah.
then the terms or the relationship mostly change.
Yeah.
In state of let's say comradeship,
Yeah.
now there become bosses and those who follow the bosses
Under them. Yeah.
yes, under them. And to achieve that, most of the time the leaders will turn away from their comrades and they look for loyalty outside the circle.
Yes.
And that's where the Khartoumers, if the word Khartoumers is defined as those who did not participate, they are not part of
Yeah.
the
SPLA
struggle.
or the combative
Yes.
effort.
Yes. So when the leader invited them and incorporate them into the system, then the loyalty is not into the objectives, those who are coming.
Yeah.
You know, let's say the Khartoumers, when they come and they join the system in Juba, they are not talking about the new Sudan and what need to be achieved as an objective. They are loyal to the leader who invited them.
Yes.
You know, and that mostly is translated into longevity of the leadership. And that's where, if you see right now, I can say within the Khartoumers, you can group them up into different groups.
Yeah.
There are groups who were really leaders within the NCP. And
Yes.
within that group, there are those who were anti-SPLM, SPLA, 100%. They want to destroy SPLA. And there were those who were within the NCP, but still nationalists, and they want SPLM to win. If you look right now, who are the one enjoying the fruits? Are the one
Yeah.
who were anti-SPLM 100%.
Yeah.
Even those who were Khartoumers and NCP, and they were nationalists supporting the cause of South Sudanese and supporting the SPLM, they are out. That means
Yes.
when you move up to the extremists, those who were anti-SPLM 100%, that's where you achieve the most loyalty to the leader.
Yeah.
Because they know their weaknesses. You know,
Yeah.
if I was the Amir who were leading the forces against the SPLA, if you invited me now and become one of your circle,
Yeah.
then you are my second god.
Of course.
And that's the dynamic, you know. And it is not only in South Sudan; it happened in different parts of the world. If you see Saddam Hussein, you see
Yeah.
Muammar Gaddafi, you see
Yeah.
Bashar al-Assad, all the revolutionaries, even in African, you know, countries, is almost the same. You know, when you achieved, you capture the power, then the objectives change. Instead of the national objectives that
Agenda.
you fought
Yeah.
for the interest of the public, now you want to ensure that whoever is around you is somebody that, you know, guarantee your longevity in the power. And that's where the objectives of the revolutionaries, that's where they get lost, because power become more important than the objectives that you raised during the war. So I think that's you know, that's what I can add into what
Yeah.
you said. I think you correctly analyze it. Now the whole issue is loyalty, not the objectives, not even
Loyalty.
the party, not
Yeah.
even the party. Now you will find out that SPLM is more effective in diaspora. People will be talking about the objectives and all good days of the SPLM. But when you go back to Juba and you talk about all this, people will look at you and then they will think that there is something wrong with you. You know,
It is a reward time. This is a reward time.
This is a reward time. If you go,
Yeah.
let's say, if Santino go in
Our time to eat. Do you know that book title by the Kenyan writer who said a book about corruption said titled "Our Time to Eat." It is our time to eat.
No, I didn't read that.
There's a book.
I
There is
didn't
a
read
book
that.
like that.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
exactly that is how it is.
Hmm.
NCP is almost the same, but little bit different. NCP, when they took power, you know, they defined the period of tamkin or empowerment.
Yeah.
But what they did, it was tamkin lil majmuu بتاعت NCP,
Yeah.
which is different. Now, let's say in South Sudan, it is not tamkin lil majmuu بتاعت SPLM. No, it is tamkin lil ailat al hakima. Let's say,
Yes.
you know, so NCP define it differently, but it is the same, you know, formula of achieving the power, then
Yes.
diverted the objectives into personal gain, you know. So
Yes.
and we will see that from time to time. You know, you go in your area now, and then you talk about the SPLM. Then people will be talking about, you know, your leases from Nyang or from Aliam Toj or from, you know, it's completely out of political line. It's this tribal line. And then when you go and you know, you talk about political objectives and SPLM and these things, then they will say, you know what,
Yeah.
David, calm down. That is not how we do our things. You know, we are here as a community. Now the word community is the substitute for the political parties. And when you talk of community, that means you diluted the whole thing. You know, there is no difference between SPLM, NCP, SSP, or SANO, or it is, you know, that thing is gone. You are now in a different environment. And that is, it is done with the intention of getting maximum loyalty, not maximum objectives. So that is what I can add, and maybe Brother Maya can, you know, Santino can add.
I welcome Santino, if you want to have more insights on this point. You are muted. Unmute yourself, Santino.
I think Santino is muted.
Yeah,
yes,
he's muted.
Sorry, I mute myself.
Yeah.
Thank you, David. Thank you, Molana Gordon. I think Gordon have exhausted a lot. He brought some good points. You also, when you took up from me, you have touched a very important point on how these Kharoumers make it into the top leadership, and was because of the struggle within the SPLM. Actually, the division within SPLM have given a lot of room for so many things to come in the SPLM, and for this unstable political settlement, because of that, the SPLM itself, they are just eating it themselves, and have given a lot of room for anybody to come in. Some you see these Kharoumers who have reached that level, those of Tutkel, they didn't come straight. There are so many leaders, they have came through so many ways. You see, they were rebels before, and they come in and they sign the peace agreement. Now they become part of it. And when the SPLM themselves, when they fight themselves, he came up and he became a good boy to the president, and he became a good ally until now he finds himself is a right hand or is a top influential leader in our country. In my opinion, all this will not help South Sudan. And all these names and singling out or just grouping ourselves is not going to help our country to be stable, because we just came out from war. It is a very traumatized country. Anything that you don't do it carefully, it will reflect, right? It will backfire within the community. And Molana Gordon mentioned it. We are not exercising any political activities anymore in South Sudan. It become a community, it become a tribe, it become a clan, it become, because you see all this vision.
Yeah.
And country, I mean the leadership, they need to be careful about this. They need to come down, especially the political parties, SPLM, SPLMIO, and SANO, and all these. They need to pay attention what is really going on within our community, within the country. The communities need to be organized. Citizens need to be given a way. They will not understand it, why we have a country, until the leadership need to explain what do we need to do with this country, and who is South Sudanese, and who have right and who have no right. You see, these things need to be it need to be done through the civic education. You see, this is the role of political parties, to educate these people, because I mentioned this in 2005. I was in Uganda during my first visit to South Sudan after the peace agreement. And there was a group of youth from my own area. They called me and I met with them. What is the way forward? The peace now is here, and what we're supposed to do as people of Tibet. You see, I mentioned it. I said, we are going to have a lot of problems, because there will be those Gok who were born in Khartoum. There will be those Gok who were born in Tibet, in the Gok area. Yeah. There were those who grew up in Kakuma. There are those who grown up in America and Australia, and all these. Everybody got their own little part of the cultures that you went and adopted from where you came from. And this, if we don't be careful, is going to bring a lot of division among us. You see, yeah. And the leadership need to be mindful about that, because South Sudanese, during the wartime, we were not in South Sudan, all of us. What uprooted us, and everybody went to their own way, looking for safety, until some of them find themselves in northern Sudan, and some of them moved to Egypt, to Uganda, to Kenya, to Ethiopia, and all over the world. South Sudanese, you can find them there. For us to come back and build that country, the government need to put the system. This derogatory words that are being used in order to marginalize certain group is not going to go away until you have to enlighten the people, until to explain who are we, and who is South Sudanese and who is not South Sudanese. Because this idea that the Khartoumers are Molana Makir should brought this idea these things are going to divide people more and more, and it is not a good agenda. It needs to be let go, and people need to focus in the unity, because through the unity, that is the only way that we are going to build in South Sudan. Every South Sudanese need to be respected. Every South Sudanese need to be given their own citizenship rights. They need to be respected. You cannot, there is nobody, even those who are, some of them were in South Sudan, then later on they find themselves in North Sudan. You see? Yeah. And so there is nothing strange there. Because
there is a reverse movement. There is a reverse movement again now. People are moving to Khartoum from South Sudan.
Even those who went in Khartoum, they moved to North Sudan now, going to become Are we going to, when they come back, are we going to call them Khartoumers again or returnees? See, we don't need the names. We need to focus on the building of the nation. I think this responsibility fall on SPLM shoulder as a ruling party. People need to take it as a serious thing, because when the grassroots is divided, is unstable, you need to pay attention, because you're not going to let the country move on smoothly.
Yeah, and thank you, Santino. I think this threat also brings me to thinking about why, of all the SPLM commanders, why was let us welcome Lamabur Mate.
Hi everybody, how are you?
We are well, we are good. Thank you, Alam.
Yeah, welcome.
Okay.
By the way, this is another Molana. Let's come here.
Not actually. I'm not. Uncle David, I'm not actually Molana. I'm not a law student, but I'm an agronomist, agriculture. That's what I did.
Oh,
so I'm
no,
a bit
no.
different to the others.
Back in Amidala,
Yeah.
I thought you were doing law.
No, I was doing agriculture.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Okay, I missed it. All right. Okay.
It's all good.
How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. I just found this topic very interesting, so I just thought I just thought of joining and share my views as well.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, I was gonna make another point, but now that you are here, have your input, and then I will go from there. I was gonna talk about this topic, Khartoumers, loyalty and stuff. To me, is related to the idea of actually selecting General Salva Kiir as the president of South Sudan. There is a link there. There is a link there about the competition and so on. I will come to that after you have your say. You're welcome, Alam.
Okay. Yeah, thanks a lot, everybody. Yeah, I have heard most of what you have all said, and it's a contribution to what the issue now is in South Sudan. And one of the things that I want to add to all that you have said is that the problem started with the SPLM, SPLA during their wartime, and this problem was the lack of institutions. Like most of the revolutionaries around the world, institutions are built and people are taught on how to run institutions before the achievement of any objective. And this has not been done by SPLM during their during the time of war, and when they had their independence, there was the shortage of skilled workers in the government.
Yeah.
And lack of education too contributed to it. And when you look at those who were in Khartoum and those who were in the diaspora somewhere, these people were skilled. Like all those you have mentioned, like Bona Malwal and all of that. These are very experienced professionals. And for someone like Salva Kiir, if you want to succeed in managing the country, you have got to go and look for professionals and the experienced to come and help you. And the problem is not entirely Kiir. It has to go all the way to John Garang, who failed to establish institutions that could make everybody ready for the independence of South Sudan and contribute to the development of South Sudan post-war. So that is one of the things I wanted to add. and all those you have said are the contributing factors as well.
Yeah. Well, I think John Garang has an excuse that he was a leader of a guerrilla movement, and there was no, maybe people were talking about democracy and institutionalization, but I think a bit it was harder in the guerrilla war context to establish any kind of institutions and all that. It was all about control, to control the movement and keep it going. But there is a point there. I believe in the movement. John Garang did not prepare an equal. He did not prepare an equal as his next, just in case, because I think he was the same kind of policy. He was more inclined to younger people, a lot of younger people who he felt that time were not likely to challenge him. But he distanced his equals, people like Dr. Nyot, people like had problems with people with qualifications like Makura Leo and others. So he distanced these people, all these people who are like a threat, political threat, or likely to rock the boat. And actually, some of them were boat rockers. Yeah, and they split in the movement. So I think that gave them the fear, and then made them not to prepare anyone who is really capable to be the next. And this brings me to the point I was going to make about why Salva Kiir, of all the commanders, was selected to be the next leader. Partly it was because of his seniority, but that was 2005 coming this way. It could have been changed, and SPLM could have chose someone who is capable in the sense of education and all that. But I think they all colluded to bring Salva, because I think it was for everyone of them who are ambitious. I think they would try to use Salva as a stepping stone. I think they believe that it will be very easy to push this guy away. I think they underestimated Salva, and that's why they chose him to be the president. That's my belief. That's my personal belief. That's my personal analysis. So all of them, all these smarties in the movement, and the Garang boys, and all these, with their ambitions, I think they all unanimously chose Salva, and then the next step was for them to just to race towards the top, and they thought it would be easier for them to go, or for anyone who is ambitious enough, or they are all ambitious, to go to the top. So that is my analysis. I might be wrong, but that's how I analyze how Salva, of all the commanders, has become the president. They underestimated him, and they thought he was our next stepping stone. So I welcome Gordon. It looks like Gordon wants to say something.
Yeah, thank you, David. Yeah, before I touch on that point, I just want to reiterate one point that Santino stated, before. First of all, SPLM did some kind of, disservice to themselves as a ruling party.
Yes.
Why I said that? SPLM, when they liberated the country and raised the flag, they were in a position that it will be very difficult for any party to compete with them.
Yeah.
Regardless of who is the leader of the SPLM. You know, if they stick to their initial objectives during the war,
yeah,
which is, you know, justice, liberty, and, you know, freedom for all, and providing
services
and services to their, you know, people.
To the population.
It's very simple. But what happened is that when Dr. John passed away soon before they cement the relationship between him and Salva Kiir.
Yeah.
If Dr. Garang was to be alive for another at least 2-3 years, you know, to show that, you know, the crack that happened in Ye is mended and SPLM is united, I think the result would have been different. But when Dr. John passed away soon after the signing of the agreement, already there was grievances between, you know, different groups within the SPLM. And that highlight the issue of loyalty more than unity.
Yeah.
You know, the leaders become more concerned of bringing people who are loyal to them on the expense of services and unity of South Sudanese people.
And the agenda, the national agenda.
And agenda or the objectives of the SPLM. They put them aside. And the thinking is that you have to secure your position. Because the mindset, as you know, ingrained by Jalaba when they initiated this Awalad Garang, it was you know, a first step to create a crack. And that crack, you know, remained there when Garang passed away. Salva did not use his, you know, his tools, you know, properly to make this Awalad Garang become Salva boys.
Yeah.
You know, and that remained there, even though it came in open in 2013, it was there. It was there, and that led to the SPLM abandoning the political party objectives and governing the country as a party, and went to communities. You know, it was done because there is an idea that the system that was already there, it is a system that is established by John Garang, and whoever is there is loyal to John Garang.
Yeah.
So he has to create an alternative to the SPLM, and that alternative led to the tribalism. You know, if you remember when we were in schools,
you
know, we were very close to the SPLM supporters from Torit, from wherever, from Juba Mountain.
Yeah.
We can die for them, and they can die for us. I think if SPLM leadership continue with that, you know, way of
that spirit
govern South Sudan, well, ma kan bukun fi yani inu Nuer is fighting Denka or Equatorian are fighting. No, it would have been fighting on the political basis, as we did when we were in school. You know, we were fighting other Denka who were pro, you know, pro-Riek.
Yeah.
And there were people who were Nuer and Equatorian, they were fighting Riek, and they were supporting us. So any division on political objectives.
Do you remember Comrade Casimiro Alao?
Casimiro Alao and
the strong guy.
Lotombe and all these.
Malonga Amana, Michael Molong.
Exactly.
I'll allow you to say about the Munchigin. He used to say, I will crush them. He used to say, I will crush them.
Exactly.
And he's a big, strong guy from Torit.
That was very healthy competition. And if we compete in South Sudan on political basis, there will be no any Gilwing from this tribe attacking Gilwing from the other tribe.
Yeah.
You know? Because if you see now, everything started with SPLM in Juba.
Yeah.
And then it went down to the counties and to the state and to the boomers. If you think about it, if, let's say, Yerul people take 1,000 cows, let's say from Rumbek, they take them to Yerul, and then people are saying, well, we don't know who did it. How can 1,000 cows be brought to Yerul without somebody seeing them? That mean our people become loyal to tribe more than government.
So no witness.
No witness. But if it was a political competition, the SPLM members in Yerul or in Rumbek or in Fiaber will say no. It is X and Y who did this. And we have to take care of them. So I just want to mention that because it's very important, as Santino said, that political unity on basis of the party is what will bring unity of South Sudanese, not tribal unity. Tribal unity, we will end up like Somalia, and even worse, because ours, with this mentality of Dinka and Nuer and the Nilotic, is going to be worse. You know, right now, nobody's safe. You are not safe in your own home, in your own village. Because that now break down into families, not even tribe. So
there is Molana. There is no end to that kind of division. Division keeps going.
It will keep going.
Yeah.
So I just want to.
It keeps going smaller to the village, to the clan, to what like that, endlessly.
I just want to support Santino argument that we have to go back to the basis. SPLM, if SPLM want to really succeed, has to go back to political party, abandon this loyalty. You know, you better accept competition. Than loyalty on the expense of unity of South Sudanese. Okay, that's the the point that I want to make there.
Gordon, I call that sorry for interruption. I call that survival politics. You know, it's just survival. It is not the national agenda. It's just a survival. You make bargains, small bargains with all small groups. You keep bargaining to survive today, and then more bargains to survive tomorrow, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
And then everything else is forgotten. Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. And your second point was about what? Can you remind me about?
It's about the selection of Salva.
Yes.
It was for a good reason.
Yes.
They selected him for a good reason.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
If you want to know that.
Yeah.
Don't go far.
Yeah.
Go back to Sosa.
Yeah.
Let's say Sosa, Alexandria.
Yeah.
What do you observe in our election?
Yeah.
I study all the elections that we did during the school time.
Yeah.
What I have seen is that all the strong people, the people that you expect
to be leaders
and who deserve to be the one leading the group, is going to be the last one in the election. They are Kuntish.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. Because they kill each other. They destroy each other. The strong one.
Exactly.
Yeah. and the weaker emerges from the ashes.
Exactly. If you see in all our elections, الزول بيكون number 1 in terms of votes.
Yeah.
Either يكون the weakest person in the group.
Yeah.
Or the smallest tribe. المايندو ذاته مايندو واحد من قبيلة بتوعه.
Yeah.
معناه we are allergic to strong people.
Yeah.
You know? And when we are allergic to strong people, the strategy is always that you will try your best to bring the person that you think that you will climb through him.
Yeah.
You will put that person on the seat.
On top there. Yeah.
And then you will be the one ruling from behind. You manipulate that person.
Yeah. Yeah.
And your ideas are the one to run the country or to run the
running.
organization.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You see? So I think you analyze it, you know, properly. And I can bring one example of one of our colleagues. I think it's in Australia there. In agriculture.
Yeah.
Ajang. Do you remember Ajang? Ajang Shaman.
Ajang Shaman, yeah.
Ajang Shaman.
Ustaz Awal Riyadha.
Yes. Ajang Shaman failed twice, miserably.
Yeah.
And when he got a chance within Asafa, because Asafa, majority are from West Africa.
Yeah.
They elected him as the president of Asafa that year. And Asafa become strong, is almost become like a country.
Yeah.
Then the question was, let to be mother in older and is that strong?
And he went and benefited Asafa.
And then he went, and then Nigerian, Ugandan elected him.
Yeah.
And he became the most successful president of Asafa.
Look at that.
But now we have a problem, David. When we don't accept each other, the strength of individuals has to be acknowledged and appreciated. You know?
Yeah.
You can see the difference a leader can make. If you see Trump in 4 years.
Yeah.
Yes. How he messed up America in 4 years.
Yeah.
Even though America is a country of institutions.
Yeah.
So that is a real indication that you know being, in fact, if there are workshops and seminars to teach them on how to concentrate on strong leaders and leave this idea of bringing a person that is weak, and you assume that you will climb through that person and you will be the one, you know, to manipulate the whole thing. We have to abandon that. You know? And I think that is part of our problem right now. You see?
That's right.
I think you nailed that. And that might be it. You know, how Selfa came up. I cannot be sure, but if I look to our small history of how we do our election and how we nominate people and who do we nominate, then we can reach a conclusion that that is part of the problem.
And by the way, Gordon, Salva looks he's not, you know, he doesn't look that smart, but he's very smart, you know?
Of course.
And especially when he's speaking in Tongwanjang, in Dinga, you realize that he's very smart, you know? I think it is just the language or the way he presented his talk. People misconceive him like he's dumb or he's not smart, you know? But he is very smart. So they made a mistake by underestimating him. Yeah.
If I can interject, David.
Yeah. Okay. Welcome.
Yeah. Okay.
Welcome, Alam.
Yeah. The point I was trying to make was about the institutions.
Yeah.
And institutions are very important. They include the political side of the country, They include the education, they include the civil society and all of that. You know, none of that is perfect. None of that is developed to the standard that can allow us to do anything to develop the country. And why I said it started with John Garang's leadership is because most of the revolutionaries we have had in Africa and around the world, you fight for your cause and you train people on how to govern and on which institutions to focus on, just in case you achieve the objective of what the objective of your struggle. And unfortunately, John Garang had to pass before the independence of South Sudan. And if anybody has to be blamed for this, it has to be John Garang, because he was more about himself. He was trying to hold on to the leadership by all means possible. And when you hold on to the leadership by all means possible, you sacrifice a lot of things that would have helped if you achieve the future, if you achieve the objective. And that is one of the things that has to be looked at in the legacy of John Garang. And to add to your second point about Salva Kiir's selection as a leader of SPLM and South Sudan in general, I think a lot of people think that Salva is that kind of a president that is accidental. And I don't think he's accidental. He's not he's not accidental, because like in the beginning, when he first started his leadership, he started off very well. He came on and acknowledged the CPA and acknowledged all the things that were signed in it, and he went extra mile.
Peace agreement.
He went extra mile than John Garang did to allow many militias like Palino Matip and all of that. He made peace with them, and John Garang couldn't make that achievement, and he did. And because not.
You are freezing. Alam, you are freezing. Your network is freezing a bit. Yes, okay.
Yes, I had to tell them off. And I'm not arguing that Salva hasn't made any failures, but he started off good. And soon as we achieved the independence, a lot of things started to go wrong. And this has to be blamed on the lack of institutions within the country. And like, no matter how long we have the country and without institutions, we will not go anywhere. All these things will happen repeatedly. And in fact, in some cases, will be even worse. So the entire thing started from the leadership, from the beginning.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you.
I want to say something about the time. I will come now. We have been here now discussing for 1 hour, almost one and a half hours. So shall we continue, or shall we just try and make our last remarks, final remarks on this topic today?
David, this is Abraham. I think
Oh, Abraham, sorry, you were there. Yeah, I forgot. I almost forgot about you. Yeah, sorry.
We've been here for a long time. I go to work tomorrow morning, and I would like to take some rest. But let me just add to what the young man just said.
Yeah.
About the institutions and how actually Salva Kiir became the leader of South Sudan. He made a good point that he's not actually accidental leader, because if we go back to the formation, the initial formation of the movement, when Dr. John was selected the leader of the movement, deputized by Carbino Kwanye, Salva Kiir and Rockton Arab were actually the deputy, and actually William Yuan was the first chief of staff of the SPLA.
Yeah.
And he was deputized by Rockton Arab and Salva Kiir. That was the hierarchy of the movement. Now, when Carbino Kwanye was pushed out, then William Yuan became like.
Excuse me, McCarran. I'm going to fix something here. I will come back. Just keep going.
Okay. Yeah. So when Carbino was out, actually William Yuan became like the second person. And then Arok also left. So that left John Garang, William Yuan, and Salva Kiir in that order. And when William Yuan left, he actually became the second in command. And people are, of course, we all know the famous conference that was held. I believe it was in Chukdum, where Salva Kiir became the second to Dr. John. And that continued, actually, till the CPA was signed. And of course, John Garang appointed him his vice president for the government of South Sudan. So when Dr. John died, automatically he became, of course, the leader, which I respect. The way they did it was real good, and it was admired by the international community, because people were afraid that the demise or the passing of Dr. John will actually bring chaos to the movement. So I like the way they did it. It was really good, you know. And I think the reason why we have problems in South Sudan is the second point that the gentleman made. It's like we did not have strong institutions, and South Sudanese did not use the 6 years of interim period to build institutions. They did not. Instead, people just the SPLM parties said, you know, like I said before, some people say Gordon or the country that broke their back, and they have to reward themselves, you know, regardless of qualifications they have. We have a lot of people that are qualified, that could have been trained and used to build strong institutions. That was not done. 6 years were just wasted, and here we are. You know, we don't have things are not going well because we don't have trained staff that are running the country. When you go to South Sudan, you go to an office. I've been there many times, and I visited some offices. You go there, you find the staff. You know, you go to their office. They are sitting at their desk, behind their desk, a lot of chairs, and people are just sitting there chatting, you know, and drinking tea.
you know. And you know, I'd never seen anybody doing anything in that country, you know. Then everything is tomorrow. I come tomorrow. I Bamulu tomorrow, and then when you come tomorrow, it's another tomorrow, and so on and so forth. So nothing is getting done. That's why we are in that situation. We have a lot of resources that we could use to bring hard currency, to bring money to the country. Nobody is even thinking about them. The little money that comes from oil, God knows where it goes. It's a very, very, very difficult situation. To end what I'm saying is Kalambata, something about unity of our people, you know. And you guys have been saying our people are getting divided, and they are getting divided and into tribes, clans, and that's already what we have, especially in Rumbek, you know.
Yeah.
And now it's all of Lake State, you know, right now. Gubel, I was reading, somebody posted something. Of course, if you guys know that Juba does not have car now. The car is out. Then somebody said, I don't know if that person is from Lakes or what. He said, "Oh, you Lake people, now why don't you use your temper to charge your phones since electricity is out?"
That is a very funny joke. Huh?
A very funny joke.
And sad at the same time.
At the same time. People were insults and why are you insulting us? But it's true. You know? That number there, we tend to fight our all of that. But we are really in our country is in a very tough situation. Laman like the boy was saying, the young South Sudanese, the musician, was saying, Laman, when you tell the truth, use that, word. When you
said yeah, he used that vulgar language, but just to to get his message across. It's a very popular song now.
Very popular.
Even a certain girl sang it. I saw a certain girl perform it. Young girl.
But it's in a very tough situation, and people need to just speak up. What I'm against is going like people that say, "Oh, okay, lazim nazi kunti another war, so these people can go." We can just support the current peace agreement, then call for election. Maybe we will have a better chance of electing better leaders, that will bring change to our country. So, Mayma, I will stop here. This is a very good discussion, and since it's every weekend, David, I mean, I'm okay. I can wait for a while and listen.
Yeah.
But this will be my last contribution, and I will just mute myself and I will listen. If you guys want to continue.
Thank you, Abraham. I want to say something about the time, the schedule of our show. It was weekly in the beginning, and then our group board of members decided, because we are doing this voluntarily, to have it every week. Majority of people thought it was too much. We need to make it like that. So we settle on once every 3 weeks. But this one is likely we can review it any other time. We can review it, but okay. I will give the link every time we are on. I will give the link to everyone. Gordon, you look like you want to say something.
Yeah, it's just you know, the institutions.
Yeah.
You know, that is true. There
Molana,
is no.
you guys hearing me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah. Okay. There is no strong institution in South Sudan. But the issue of institution also depend on the people.
Yeah.
People are the one who make institutions. If you go in South Sudan, you will get all the laws. Nothing missing really. But there is nobody is willing to enforce institution. Nobody is willing to streamline the work, the job description, and how the job will flow. Nobody is ready for that. And if there is nobody is ready for that, then there will be no institution. Even if you stay there for 100 years, you know. And I can say, let's say right now in South Sudan, any approval, you have to go to the minister. And now I'm hearing now is minister even cannot approve things. Things are going to J1. How can you have institution like that? Institution, you have to enforce the workflow, starting from department going up, and that is the same way that all the reports every month, that is how they flow. And we have seen it here. You know, a police on the road, if you are a minister or a prime minister, nothing you can do about his work or her work. You speed will give you a ticket. There's no way that you can discipline that officer, a soldier. And that soldier will not jump to anybody's job. But what happened, maybe my brother is right, during the war, maybe John Garang allowed a lot of things. We have seen during the war that a political officer become a sultan, become a Gadi, become everything.
Yeah.
And that culture become normal. And we have seen it even now. You have seen soldiers on the way, putting the rope, collecting money. And who are they to collect money? So they just adopted whatever they were doing, and that we have to blame the leaders, because it has to start with the leader. Let's say the party, the SPLM, when we had convention in Juba, there were resolutions by the convention, and convention is the highest power in the party. Many resolutions. I can say that no one resolution was implemented. I can tell you one of the resolutions that was passed in that convention was that if there is a member that joined SPLM from other parties, it cannot be appointed in any constitutional position unless that person stay as a member for 5 years. We passed that in the presence of Salva. It didn't take even 1 week, and people were appointed. People even did not resign from the previous parties. So this institution, when I hear about it, there are laws, there are everything, but you will find that a soldier is become a tax collector. Okay, it become a judge, and nobody is streamlining them. Nobody telling them that don't do this. Somebody is collecting money. We have read it here, and nobody is accountable. Accountability is what makes institutions. If there is no accountability, nobody will respect institutions. There are laws that are in the book, but nobody will respect them unless are enforced. So our problem is people. Everybody want to be a king. Muhafaz, there is a there is commander, there is Muhafaz, there is a Jamhuriya, there is tax collector. تمشي على مستوى بتاع البيام مفتش كان الزمان ده وده يكون كين كمان على مستوى بتاعه ده يعمل كل حاجه بيحكمك. بيشيل منك أبقار بدخلك في سجن if doesn't like you and nobody asking يعني ممكن يعني governor يكون بس مسافة بتاعت 10 كيلو and he's hearing all this they will not say no don't do that that is not how things work so the problem is people if they are not willing to change there will be no institutions you know because everybody want to be the king you know and it's starting from Juba up to the Buma. So institution, yes, maybe John Garang did not instill in them during the war, and that become a culture. Before independence, the same thing. When we were there were a lot of things going on. I remember a friend of mine, we were talking in Juba, and drinking tea. And somebody was saying, you know what, you guys, what you are doing is not good. Why this happened and this happened and this happened? That guy said, okay, you guys, you wait. Let us do our thing. When your time comes, you come and correct it.
That was in the coordination office.
You just imagine.
Yeah, in the coordination office in Khartoum, yes. They used to say, let us mess it up here, but when the SPLA come, they will fix everything.
No, and SPLA will not fix everything because it become part of our mentality. And that is what is so that is what I just want to add to the issue of
now SPLM come and mess it up now again.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Gordon. Thank you very much. I think it has been Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, we hear you.
Yes. Yeah, I think thank you guys. You have contributed a lot, and we learn from each other. The young man was right when he was talking about the institution. There will be progress without institution. That is the fact. And Dr. John, during the war, I think Dr. John didn't plan for leaders that can govern the people. All he was doing was he invested his time for the war. All these leaders, they were trained how to execute the war and how to achieve the war. He did it perfectly, and he became successful. He didn't have the time to train leaders that will lead the people during peaceful time or to just follow up with institutions.
Yeah.
He didn't thought about that. But he himself, he know a lot. He know what is need to be done. He know what is the role of the leader. What you're supposed to do to the people. He knows even the accountability. When you did not do well, you're supposed to be held accountable. All this, I think, he kept it for himself. He didn't train. He didn't give himself the time to select a certain group to train them. How to rule the people, and this is a dilemma that we are in now. But this, to just make my point to the end here, the word, this word, Khartoumers, returnees, and everything that that people are using now it needs to be stopped because SPLM party need to take a leadership. SPLM need to work up because now there are young generation is coming with all this thinking. I think our country will not be stable for years to come if the SPLM leadership did not do anything. They need to put a base how the country can be governed. They need to realize that things are not going well. They need to realize that our people need help. The civic education need to be proper. People need to be directed, because you cannot expect people will function and they will understand what does it mean to have a country. What do we need to do this country with this country? What is the role of each of individuals as a citizen? What are your rights? What are your duties? See? All these need a work, need a job. You see, Mabur, you were talking about being smart and how he was elected easily by the smartest group, you call them. So that people will think that it will be easy for them to rise up or to put aside President Salva. You see, that was underestimate. Yeah. That was underestimate from them, because you cannot be under the kind of commander. Salva was a commander. He was number 4 or number 5 before Urbino gone. And then you underestimate him. That was not good. Actually, after he was sworn in Khartoum, I was in Rumbek. The first time he came back, I was in Rumbek that time. I even recorded all his speech in Freedom Square in Rumbek. I have that video with me. You see? He touched a lot of points, you see. And I don't think South Sudanese were listening to him, and especially the leadership of the SPLM, SPLA by then. He made his point, and people should know that he knows what he was doing. What he was really needed from the rest of the comrades is just to support him. And you can see that Salva now, he forgive a lot of people. He don't want to show that he can betray his own comrades. He don't want to put them in jail. People complaining a lot about corruption and mismanagement, and he's not doing it. He's doing it in a sincere manner that he don't want to betray his comrades. And unfortunately, people misuse that honesty from his side and think that he's weak and people can manipulate him. That was a mistake. We need to unite ourselves. So, we don't have any time, because the generation are growing, people are growing old, the young people are growing, and if these young people are coming up and there is no foundation for the system, there's no institution, this country will remain in that disarray weather. And therefore, the SPLM as a governing party need to take a responsibility seriously and fix all this. It is fixable. It can be done. You see, if people just come down and realize that all of us, we have fought for this country in a way or another. There's nobody there who did not contribute it. You cannot tell me that I was in Khartoum and I got my cousins killed in South Sudan. Do you think that is not part of my blood? I did not choose that to be in Khartoum. It happened. The war broke out while I was in school in Northern Sudan.
Studying.
To join the war. I was studying. And so, and all of us, we have contributed in a way or another. Referendum can be evident, because during the referendum, all South Sudanese voted for independence of South Sudan. Otherwise, you could have not have that percentage, 98%. If this thing was just left for those who were in vote, they cannot make that percentage. It means that even those who were in Khartoum, even those who were working with the Northerners, all of them voted for the secession of South Sudan to become independent, because that's supposed to be honored, and their work also need to be respected and consider them as a citizen. We fought for because we were the second citizen in the whole Sudan. We cannot afford again to come and do the same things to ourselves. It doesn't mean it will disqualify all the struggle that we have. and therefore we need to prove to the world that when we put up the arms, we mean it. That we need to liberate our people, all our people. We cannot divide them again and try to create a second class within a new country. All of us we need to contribute. All of us we need to work together and build and bring our country into the right channel.
Yeah. Thank you, Santino. I think on this point, all this talk about Khartoumers, those who and considering them that like they didn't contribute, the language this is a change of language from the gallants. It's a change of language because during liberation time, the language was anyone who is studying somewhere or lives somewhere away from Sudan. They used to call them Akot in Tongwanjang. They were used to be called "you are our seed." Even the top leadership of the movement, yeah, you are the seeds. You are our seeds. You are our crops that we have hidden away. And then when we are done with this, you will come with all your knowledge there, with all everything, and you will come and advance the country. That was the language that time, you know. But now this new language, I think it all comes down to just some kind of bad competition, you know, exclusion, attitude to exclude the other, try and find a reason to exclude the other person. So I think, guys, we have had a very good discussion, and so I will give you all a chance to make your last remarks. Let's start.
Yes,
with,
actually, I want to go back to work. Can I just come in with 2 minutes and leave?
Yeah, like 2 minutes. Yeah. Let's start with Alam.
Yeah.
Alam Abur.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, David. This is a good discourse, and I hope it happens often, so people get to know each other and have their views listened to and be learned about, you know. And to conclude, I would like to defer a bit with Gordon and on the institutions. He previously mentioned that it's the people to blame because already we have the institutions, and it is the people that are not doing anything to build them. I think this is not true. The institutions are not there at all. Like if you look at the education sector, it's not being funded. The government is not doing anything to fund it. Take for example, how many times have Juba University closed over the fact that there is not enough funds to keep it going. Look at the lecturers in the institutions sector not being paid by the government, and look at the agriculture being neglected, and have all these cattle being in the hands of everybody, and cattle that has no owner. If these institutions were funded, I think at least something could have been done. I'm saying this not because I want it all achieved within a short period of time. Of course, that is not possible. Gordon Brown, the former British Prime Minister, once argued that it took British 5 centuries to reach where they are now. Establishing institutions can take us centuries to put it up well.
To achieve.
But there has to be a starting point, and a starting point is not there in South Sudan. And not blaming John Garang, saying that John Garang, the other speaker said John Garang did not have the time to build an institutions. The SPLA, in history of all the revolutionaries around the world, is the only institution that has the most educated people in it. It was run by many educated people, most of them PhDs, and they did not do anything to establish the institutions. If you look at Museveni when he was fighting to overthrow the Milton Obote government, he established these institutions while he was fighting. If you look at the movement, the independent movements in Africa, these were labor unions. They even established their own institutions before being handed the government and the independence. So there was no reason. John Garang did this intentionally. It was not that he didn't have the time. He had the time, and he knows that institutions have to be built, but he put it aside just so that he can keep hold of the leadership. And to conclude, I think the more we talk about these issues, the easier it is for us to have it all starting. The problem right now in South Sudan is there is within the government there is complacency over the achievement of independence, and independence alone cannot take us anywhere. And it takes the ground, the people on the ground, discussions like this to get to the ease of the government. And that is my conclusion for today. And I would like to say thank you very much on the points that you have shared with me.
Thank you, Alam. Thank you very much. Yeah, Gordon?
Yes, thank you, David. Yeah, to conclude, what I can say is that this name calling is a strategy, to create unfair advantage. That is, and in an environment, a political environment that is not functioning politically, it is normal. It is normal to create alternative realities. So Khartoumers, since there is no political labeling based on political party objectives, then it is easy for anyone who want to put David Mabor in disadvantaged position to label him as, Khartoumers. If that is enough to weaken, the opponent. So this name calling, flourish in an environment where political work based on political objective is abundant. So the Khartoumers will come in, the sectionalism will come in, regionalism will come in. Those are all, slogan used to put certain group in a disadvantaged, position politically. But for SPLM as a governing party, they have to put their act together. It can be done, as mentioned by Santino. If they put themselves together, abandon these, these grievances among themselves, and leadership fighting, power struggling. If they put them aside and unite and confront themselves with the fact, accept that there are failures within the SPLM. The challenge right now is that they don't accept majority of the SPLM members. The normal members like us, we accept. And when we accept, the other group within the members, they will protest. And when Salva come out and acknowledge by himself, or Kwal Manyang, or Awinakot, all these leaders, then we accepted it. There is no change that will come from any group that coming outside the party. Any reform has to come within the party. Political bureau should be the one to sit down and accept the fact that there are a lot of failures within the SPLM. That is a starting point. And when they accept that fact, then it will be easier for them to reform the party, direct their vision, reactivate whatever is lost, and they can move on and still achieve. If it is a matter of wealth, I think majority of them now, they are, wealthy. In a country where you cannot have like 100,000 US dollars, people are having millions of dollars. That is a filthy wealth. So, the Tamkin is already, it's done. Let them come together and go back to work and serve the people of South Sudan. And that cannot come unless they have to acknowledge that they fail to govern the country as a party, especially within leadership. So this name calling is going to end if they raise, the freedom of individual South Sudanese, give political freedom, let parties exercise their rights, constitutional rights, let individuals exercise their constitutional rights, let media be free, because if there is a free media, then Salva cannot even, worry, because everything will come out from the media. And then he will pick up from there and make people accountable. If Salva today, in 2013, لو كان مثلا الناس دي كله اللي كان بيقولوا لي بتاع 75 ده وتكلم في سجن والناس دي اتمردوا والله المواطنين كانوا بيشيلوا عصايات بيمشي يجيبوا. Very simple. لو كان حرب ده قام because Salva hold these people accountable والله المواطنين يجيبوا ما في غابه ذاته ينزل فوق. So it is very simple. It is very simple for them to go back, to fundamental vision of the SPLM. If they go back, I'm sure they will get votes and they will be able to rule. And then give a free space to other political parties, let them compete. So still there is a room to kill all these name calling and go back to a name calling based on the objectives. I can give you name calling because of your objectives, your vision. That is a fair competition. Instead of giving me advantage, being a Khartoumers or being diaspora and so forth. And all this name calling change also depend on the needs. If you remember a long time ago, diaspora was a seventh front. We all fought about it in US, in Canada. In Canada here, we fought until we established what is called Sudan Task Force. Sudan Task Force made a lot of pressure on the Hukuma of Sudan and supported, the SPLM supported South Sudan. And police al-Drabu fi Abiya fi Malad al-Kulu is from Canada. But now, because the whole thing now is not a Sijin Wal, bigger folk dollar, now we are not seven front. Now we are being called names. So let's unite as South Sudanese. Let's criticize each other, but at the same time, let's build the country for the next generation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Gordon, for your insights. Abraham, are you there?
Anato David, Anato.
Can you do your final remarks, please?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, David. Thank you, everyone. It was very nice discussion. I enjoyed it very much. I just want to add to what Brother Gordon just said, is to actually beg our people who are engaged in calling that this thing is not going to take us anywhere. We will look at the history of Sudan. When Sudan was being colonized by Egypt and Britain, you know, they were the colonizers. The Egyptians and British were seen by Sudanese people as colonizers. When they were pushed out, we all united. You know, there is history that, you know, Mortimer Juba and all of this Sudanese are all trying to come together to liberate the country. And then after we had Sudan, now the Jalaba were the masters and looking down upon South Sudanese people, which led to Anyanya 1 and now the liberation struggle. We should be the last people to practice this kind of practice, you know, as South Sudanese people, because we went through this so many months. We should distance ourselves from this kind of name calling. Let us unite our people. We need leadership, actually. We need leadership to unite the people of South Sudan so that we are one, regardless of tribe and political affiliation, so that we can work together and build the country that we actually were dreaming of. Anna Gubel, I made an example. Anna Guta, when they say we have liberated the country, what country have we liberated?
Yeah.
And I said, Lo, if you live with your brother, you are married, you have your family, your brother has a nice house, you don't have a house. Your brother said, come live with me, with your children. And then your brother always say, why didn't you find your house? Why don't you find your house? And you said, you go out there and you say, now because my brother is always telling me this, I'm tired of it, I'm going to go and build a house. You go, you build a house, you don't put a roof or windows or door.
Yeah.
You family there. You move your family to that.
How come Bijala? How come is it going to be a house? Yeah.
Right. So now, snakes will come in, frogs will come in, the rain will rain on you and your family. And when your family complain, you know, about that home, you tell them, what are you talking about? Now we have our own home. That is exactly what the SPLM is doing to South Sudanese people. When we were one country, and Rumbek or Yerul or any other city of Sudan, there's no one day, even when we were children, when you walk in the city in the dark, you are not afraid of anything to harm you except orphan or something, you know?
Yeah.
But now you cannot walk freely in your own city. We children are not getting the kind of education we were getting when we were there. Teachers are not being paid. Nobody's even getting paid. You know, there is no security. And now you say, so-and-so did not participate in the liberation and you call them names? Come on. We need to stop this. We need to bring security to our country. We need to work as one people. And as we speak, wallahi, it's not only people in the leadership that are saying Khartoum. There are people from Khartoum. Even in Rumbek now, as we speak. Mahakim betana beta shabda, the regular Mahakim betana al-Bamulu Sakida, there gal fi Mahakama betana Khartoum. There is court for people that came to Khartoum. Yes.
In Juba?
In Rumbek.
In Rumbek?
Yes. You can go to the government, you can go to regular Mahakama, and if you don't get what you want, you go to Mahakama Batanas Khartoum.
What is the difference?
that. Yeah, I don't know. So this thing is serious, and I hope our people will come to their senses, especially the ruling party will come and say, please come, let's all unite and let's be all South Sudanese, regardless of who came from where. Because why single out Nas al Khan for Khartoum? Because there were people from Ethiopia, Nas Khan for East Africa.
Yeah, everywhere. Yeah.
You know, but it's not making sense. And if because Nas with al Khan for Khartoum, they went to Jalaba, the enemy. Now our government is even closer to the government of Sudan right now. Maybe some of us actually don't like the Jalaba now, but they are going to Khartoum every now and then. So thing has to stop. It's not going to help, and it's going to lead to other problems that we don't want to invite. Okay, so I will stop here. All of you, good night. Nas Batana Bejai. I think Australia, it's morning.
Daytime now. Yeah, it is like
okay.
It's going to 2 p.m. 2 p.m. in my state.
So I have a good evening, my brothers, and
Thank you.
America. Yeah, good night.
Thank you, Abraham. Thank you very much. Santino, you are lucky lost.
Yeah. Thank you, Molana. I think everybody, everything. I want to thank you for the opportunity and also for my colleagues, the young man, Lam, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Brother Abraham, Brother Gordon. You see, coming to your topic, Khartoumers, what we can sum up about all this is that we don't need this. We don't need to divide ourselves as South Sudanese. We need to unite ourselves. We need to call ourselves South Sudanese. We need to focus on the building of our country. We need to do. We don't need to just distract ourselves with these useless names and things that will divide us more. There's no room for this. I don't see any justification for all this, except those who are doing this, they are not serious about the country, or maybe they do not understand the reason we liberated ourselves. Because you cannot just come out from war and then after you liberated yourself, you become a unique. That you are proving to the world you didn't have any agenda. Actually, you are just a kind of a person that you can catch up with any problem and you can create a problem and you need to live with the problem all the time. We don't need to do that. We need to stop this. We need to prove the world that we were fighting for the cause and we mean it actually to have our country, and we can work together to build our country. It is just simple like that. So using this word of Khartoumers, Kenyans, Ugandians, and South Sudanese, because we can divide ourselves into all these groups. But what is the goal for? What do we need to prove? You see, because those who are calling others, they don't even explain why they are calling these people Khartoumers. And as we started that earlier in this show, you have explained it very well, David, that there is nobody in South Sudan who is not a Khartoumer. From the top, start from President Salva Kiir down to the simple man there. All of
from John Garang.
They were Khartoum. Including John Garang. They were in Khartoum and they live in Khartoum.
Lama called.
President Salva, whenever you want to address people, you always start in Arabic, you see. Everybody speaks Arabic in Sudan. So we were in Sudan. I think the issue is that the understanding itself, because we South Sudanese, we did not just come from the bush. We were part of Sudan.
Yeah.
So we were fighting within one Sudan.
Yeah.
And when we left from the country Sudan, and now we become South Sudanese.
The capital city of the country.
Like Juba was our capital. Yeah. Now everybody in Juba, that means that whoever left in Juba and go to Rumbek, you will be called Jubas or what? What is it? If that's the issue that we need to name ourselves where you have been. So your show is interesting, and actually these kind of things need to be discussed from time to time so that we can be more familiar of what we want to do and who are we. People touch a lot of good points about the issues facing our country. It is our all concern. It is a concern, all of us as South Sudanese. We just need to see our country is stable and move forward to the development. There's no bad and good person. All of us, we are citizens of South Sudan, and we must understand this. This is the bottom line. You see, nobody can be singled out to be discriminated against. I feel bad if South Sudanese can just give all this respect to the foreigners, and they cannot respect their own citizens.
Yeah,
it is not fair. You see, like the point that Molana mentioned it earlier, that in Rumbek there is a court for those who are in Khartoum. What is all that about? What is all that about? Are we just playing with the life of our martyrs? You want to tell us that those who died for this country, they were just joking? They didn't have an agenda? That is not good. You see, we need to change this mentality and just work together. So Sudan is big. If I go back to Quebec, I'm not going to stay in somebody's house. I'm going to stay in our own house because I was born there. You see, I'm not going to stay with somebody. So for you to just come and disturb me and telling me some words, try to prove to me that I'm not part of this land, no, that's not fair. It's not good, and we need to change this, especially the intellectual group. The most people who are using it, they are very intellectual, they are educated. They need to know what is the effect of all these names we are giving ourselves. It will not heal us from the war. Instead, it's going to broke our morale, and when we don't have that capacity in our morale, we are not going to build our country as we expected to go forward. Thank you, Brother David, for the chance. It's my pleasure to be in your show, and we hope our people are hearing us and see this topic as an issue. People should not make a joke on it. It is an issue. There are real people there who are affected by this name. You can see that in Juba. If you go to Juba, those who came from Khartoum after the independence, they are living miserable life in Juba and even in Rumbek. Most of them now, they left their own back. They went to Wow. They cannot stay in their own homeland, and some of them went back to Khartoum. Why? We don't need to. We don't need to do that. We need to stop this and try to impress ourselves and see ourselves as the brothers and sisters. Thank you, and have a good night to everybody. Have a good day for those who are in your different locations. Thank you, David.
Have a good night. We have come to the conclusion of our show. We have been here now for 2 hours and 18 minutes. So it's not such too much long. It's okay. So I thank you, Alam Burmate, Gordon Nyalbok, Abraham Akermachud, and Santino Mayangding. Thank you all, and goodbye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Goodbye.
See ya.